JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. October 22nd, 2024, 9 o'clock on this fine Tuesday. Talk really quick about the market, some of the names I'm looking at, go from there. But take a look at S&P futures down this morning. Europe markets are down. Yeah, S&P is down about 0.5%. We're right near the lows of yesterday. So yesterday at 11:30, we hit, I think it was 580.56 or so. And we hit 580.31 just a little bit ago and start to bounce. We'll have to see how the chop is today. I talked about the resistance 585, so we hit 584, 90, 584.85 yesterday, and the lower today was actually 580.60, 580.50, excuse me. So a tight range, probably the same here today. Not much in the way of catalyst. So tomorrow we have Tesla earnings, uh, weekly jobs claims on Thursday, and then the big story or headlines is, people got to find something to talk about. It's been the yields, and I mean, rightfully so. It's probably something to keep an eye on because you would think within a Fed rate cut cycle, the rates would start going down, and pretty much a little bit after the Fed announced the jumbo rate cut, yields have just been creeping higher, and the 10 years still over 4%. And you would think okay, is it some there was concern about inflation numbers or data or geopolitical concerns, the election. I mean, there's a lot of different things, but yeah. So anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. But hopefully, so 580 support, 578 and 585. Those are the two key areas. I almost looked to get put hedges yesterday when we were at 580 at about 11:30, but I just kind of sat on my hands, and sure enough, we got a slow melt to the upside. SPY almost went red to green near the close. Nasdaq closed green yesterday, but then the disappointing thing is the small caps. So, well, first, here's the yields. I think I posted this in the chat room, but I'll do it anyway. Just take a look at that. Almost not take a little bit to get to July levels, but just pretty remarkable. If you had said, "Hey, the Fed cut rates," you would think that the graph would look totally different. We'd probably flip it upside down, right? But that's not the case. So similar to the VIX was stubborn over 20 for a while. Finally, I mean, it actually got back into the 19s yesterday, and it's at 1930 and change right now. So hopefully that stays under 20, but just need to see the yields start to creep down, and maybe I can get a little more convicted in a possible end of year rally. So that's that. And the small caps, disappointing. They sold off, and instead of bouncing at 11:30 like the markets did, they just stayed flat. And that's small caps down 1.5% yesterday. Again, I don't know if they're maybe more sensitive to rising rates. That seems to be the case. I mean, the stronger dollar sometimes has a big impact on small cap names, but would really like to see this back over 225 today. Actually, just got a fat finger there on IWM at 902. But sitting here, 221 and change. It held 220 in the pre-market. See if that can hold. If we do get some weakness, it's not. Would love to see it back over 225. And then I don't know if I posted, but Bespoke, I forget who it is that posted this on FinTwit, but I always like historicals, and interesting to see the times that rates were higher following a Fed rate cut. No, the incidence of that happening is not too frequent, but this is only back to 1994. I say only, I mean, it's 30 years of history, but this is the third largest move over a 35 calendar day change. So it's not even trading sessions. And then you start looking at the other dates, and it's 2004 and 2001. So pretty remarkable stuff. Again, maybe this is an outlier. Maybe it's volatility into the election. Some headlines or folks are rationalizing around higher government spending, which is going to just increase an already insane budget deficit. I mean, so deficit's higher. Just you would think, though, it would be in the government's best interest to keep rates low so they don't have to finance their debt. Anyway, rants for other days. All right, so individual names. So that's that on the market. So 578 on the SPY, 585. If we break 578 on the SPY, I'll look for some hedges. I'll talk about that in a second. To surgical, finally, I got some more spec calls. It only needs a 3% move or so for the calls to really pay off. Got back over 520, was 521 and change. Sold off with the rest of the market down to 514, but then bounced back into the 520s before the afternoon. Just a slight pull into the close. Still love this one. I mean, I talked about the earnings, the growth. There's names that you would say turn from a growth play to a fundamental play or a value play, and this is still a huge growth play. I mean, huge growth, still a huge opportunity, and and it's a cash cow. So buying back stock, all these different levers that they're pulling. I think it goes $600 in the coming months. So don't be surprised if I'll keep on looking out for opportunities for inexpensive calls, because I think, number one, it's a good sign to see it trade pretty much flat yesterday, despite the 10% move on Friday, and then also despite what the market was doing. So if anything, just bodes well for more highs this week. Uh, Clear Secure, I did it on the rant yesterday afternoon. I talked about, it seems like the travel sector as a whole remains well bid. You take a look at names like Booking, Expedia, trying to think of some of the other names in the space, and airlines, some of the cruise names. But uh, in Expedia, some of that move is being inflated a little bit from Uber's possible, the speculation that there could be a buyout candidate. But I just bodes well. And so finally, after two red sessions, recoup some of Thursday and Friday's losses. Still think this trades up over 40 in the coming weeks. I'll be patient, adding more strikes. Still have the Januaries. Wynn Resorts, disappointing. Asian markets were down overnight. So last night, the previous night. So wasn't surprised to see it lower. Ahead of LVS earnings, and I think there's a lot of different things that are going on besides what's going on in Asia. So just surprised it's back under $100. Hopefully you find some footing here today or tomorrow. Las Vegas Sands earnings Wednesday after the close should certainly help put wind back into sales. And then Wynn will announce their earnings date. It's probably going to be next week or the first week of November. So I'm sure they're going to at least issue some nice guidance and give more updates on their UAE resort that they're building and all that fun stuff. Really like this name. The calls took it on the chin yesterday. I'm not going to sit and I typically don't average down. I've done that. I always say when it happens, I've only done it a couple of times. I typically look to get either lower strikes or further out strikes. So I'll continue to look for opportunities on Wynn, but I'll just hold what I have now. Roku doing what Roku does, totally disappointing. After Friday's rally on Netflix earnings, just gave back the gains, down nearly 4%. It wouldn't be surprised to see it back near $80 today or tomorrow. So earnings next week on the 30th. Premium, I guess the only silver lining here is some of the premiums come down into next week for the calls. So I'll probably wait till either tomorrow or Thursday to look for more strikes to play Roku. Redfin under pressure again with rising rates is not a good thing, or rising yields, not a good thing for real estate names. And some of the bull case, and I still think there's a strong bull case for Redfin, is that as mortgage rates start to come down, you're going to have this pent up supply and demand. Just both sides going to create an enormous opportunity for Redfin, Zillow, and all these names centered in the real estate space. Back under its 50-day moving average, the longer it stays there, and hopefully today's not the day, odds are it breaks under $10. I got the November's last week. I still have the Januaries, and I'll just be patient. But I'm still very bullish this name, and considering it's still, if you look just back in August, it was $8 and change. So doesn't mean it can't be $20 or it shouldn't be $20. It just kind of helps keep things in perspective. But still like this one for upside. SE churning, good sign yesterday that it still closed green despite what Asia did overnight and the markets. At some point, you look, tight Bollinger Bands, and the Bollinger Bands just continue to get tighter. Typically precedes a large outside move. Would not be surprised to see a $10, $15 move in the coming days and weeks. And then last but not least, I've been talking about the GLP-1 names yesterday morning and afternoon. Obesity week, November 3rd to the 6th. VKTX report earnings after the close tomorrow. I'm waiting for some of the premiums to come out. Well, so I don't know if I'll add strikes today or maybe tomorrow. But don't be surprised if I add some strikes to encompass Obesity week. But they're insane. If you look for the strikes that week for Sunday is November 3rd that's Obesity week. I think it's in Texas, but it starts on a Sunday. And that's when I guess VKTX will announce their data. So certainly could be market moving. I think that's about it. SPY's at 5, pretty much right here at the lows of the session. We have 20 minutes to the open, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back later. Rock and roll.